Okay, anyone been jonesing for a new game of Commander from us? No? No one? Alright, bye. Just kidding. Not only do we have a game of Commander, but it's a shiny and chrome game of Commander Star Magic, featuring the likes of Godo, Bandit, Warlord as the red mage, Titania, Protector of Argoth in the green corner. Allied to Titania, we have Rob playing his Avacyn, Angel of Indestructibleness. Does anyone seriously remember Avacyn for her last name? Next, everyone's least favorite mage, the blue mage, playing Talrand Sky Summoner, even though he lives in water. You might be happy to know that there are no infinite combos in the blue deck. So yeah. Last up we have the black mage playing Erebos, god of being black. As a reminder in Star Magic, it is everyone for themselves, although it is in your best interest to keep your allied colors alive. Players win when their individual enemy colors are dead, so it is possible that the game could result in a shared victory. I'm happy to tell you though that that does not happen this game, as there will be a single winner. Which color do you think it's gonna be? Oh, and you can't attack your allies, but you can mess with them. Talrand goes first this game, and on turn 1, both of Godo's allies play Soul Rings, so it's looking pretty good for him. On Erebos' turn 2, he ramps harder with 1 Power Stone. Godo and Titania ramp on their turns, and on turn 3, Erebos seems to be setting the pace of this game when he casts Gauntlet of Power, naming Black Duh. He also was the first to cast his commander. Spike Shot Jr. from Godo. Titania casts Acidic Slime to blow up Erebos' Gauntlet, which prompts Godo to say, I need to get my allies to start working together. Turn 4, Talrand lays down Ancient Tomb and again declines to cast any spells. Slow Roller. Erebos pays 2 life to draw a card with his commander's ability and then says...
This deck's just a bunch of dick cards.
He's playing my deck, by the way. He then casts Bloodchief Ascension, which, if active, will affect Titania and Avacyn. Godo attacks Rob for 1 with the Spike Shot. Titania attacks Erebos for 2 with Slime. Titania then ramps harder with Cultivate. Avacyn then plays 2 mana producing artifacts and casts Endless Horizon to dig out like 15 snow plains or something ridiculous like that. Talrand joins the party on turn 5 with Talrand losing 2 life to Ancient Tomb and Erebos also losing 2 life to draw a card, neither of which will trigger Bloodchief Ascension. Erebos loses more life on his turn, going to 28 to draw cards. Erebos then casts the Abyss, which kills dudes. On Godo's turn, he breaks all 3 of Avacyn's artifacts with Shattering Spree, making so Avacyn won't be able to come out next turn. Godo then Mizium Mortars Talrand, but what kind of blue mage would Ty be if he didn't have a counterspell backup with Remand, and then Misdirection when Godo casts it again. Talrand makes 2 Flying Drakes. Titania is a heavy creature deck, so he casts Reclamation Sage to blow up Erebos' Abyss, which will also help out Godo and Talrand. Avacyn adds planes to hand from the horizon on his upkeep, and then casts a Gauntlet of White Power. Turn 6. Talrand makes another Drake and attacks Godo for 6. Erebos casts Beacon of Unrest to steal Titania's Acidic Slime and pop Avacyn's Gauntlet. Pretty ironic that it's the Avacyn player who keeps getting its permanents blowed up. Godo Bandit Warlord joins the battle on his turn, finding Sophie. Godo goes to equip the commander when Talrand casts Rapid Hybridization, turning Godo into a frog lizard unholy abomination of hell. Titania casts Caged Sun for green. Basalt Monolith from Avacyn, hoping for a next turn commander. Talrand casts Factor Fiction, getting another Drake and then adding Time Stop and Gitaxian Probe to hand. Talrand starts his turn 7 in a very dominant board position. He has a lot of Drakes in play and everyone knows he has Time Stop in hand, which is very demoralizing. Because Star Magic incentivizes you not to kill one player at a time, Talrand decides to attack Titania for 10, who can't block when this happens.
Moment's peace. So what is it?
That is such an underplayed card. Talrand then Gitaxian probes to check out Titania's hand, paying 2 life and getting a Drake. Erebos attacks Avacyn for 2 with his Acidic Slime, which will add the first counter to Bloodchief Ascension. Erebos tries to cast Black Sun Zenith for 2, but Talrand doesn't like that, so he casts Time Stop on his ally's turn nonetheless. We were not expecting that. Now because of the Time Stop, Bloodchief Ascension doesn't trigger, which is pretty funny. Godo goes to equip the Log Frizzard with the Sword of Fire and Ice, but then Talrand Cyclonic rips the very token Talrand gave him back to hand. Godo then activates Guardian Idol, making it to a creature, equips it with the Sword of Fire and Ice, and attacks Talrand, shocking Talrand and drawing a card. Talrand down, but still has an array of Danger Drakes. Oh, and people kept singing the Call Me On My Cell Phone song almost throughout the entire game. Just wanted to include you in my misery as I edit this. Titania joins the battle on his turn and then realizes there is not a land in his graveyard, so he in response shoots one of his own lands with Ghost Quarter, getting 2 elemental tokens, getting another forest, and then returning the Ghost Quarter to play. Not bad. Avacyn casts a white Caged Sun and then becomes the last commander to join the battle. Turn 8. Talrand attacks Titania for 16 damage. Erebos forgets to counter his BA. Erebos casts Merciless Executioner, which is Erebos' and Godo's only way of dealing with the mighty angel herself. Erebos attacks Avacyn for 2 and pays another 2 life with Read the Bones. Erebos continues killing Titania's creatures with an evoked Shriekmaw. Erebos also adds the very first counter to the Bloodchief. Godo goes to attack Talrand, who casts Ether Spouts. Titania comes back out and returns Ghost Quarter again. Titania attacks Talrand for 6 and Erebos for 5, putting him to 11. Avacyn then has more than enough mana to come back out on its turn. Turn 9. Talrand attacks Titania for 10. Both of Godo's allies are currently the lowest life totals. Not great. Talrand plays Reliquary Tower and casts Rite of Replication Kicked, taking 2 damage from Ancient Tomb and making 5 Garruk's Pack Leaders. Clone count 1. Talrand draws 20 cards. Discard free. Damnation from Erebos, who then casts Karn Liberated to liberate Avacyn from the battlefield. Godo then comes back out, getting Greaves and equipping up with the Sophie, and then attacks Talrand twice for 14 damage. He didn't want to attack Avacyn, so Erebos wouldn't be able to activate the Ascension, which would likely kill Titania. Speaking of Titania, he casts Vorinclex, Soul of the Harvest, Vigor, and other stuff. On Avacyn's turn, Avacyn comes back out for a 3rd time. Avacyn then casts Planar Cleansing, helping the crap out of his ally Talrand. Turn 10. Talrand casts 2 blue Caged Suns. On his turn, clone count 2. Talrand then rejoins the battle. Talrand casts Draw Spells and makes Drakes to call on his cell phone. Erebos then casts Whip of himself, and then whips Merciless Executioner back into play to kill Avacyn yet again. Erebos casts a Blood Gift Demon to bring Erebos to Land of the Living and then attacks Avacyn for 5 damage again. Erebos gains 5 life from the lifelink. Godo casts Batterskull. So yeah, he's doing stuff. Guess who Avacyn plays yet a freaking again? Turn 11. Talrand casts Sora Temptation, taking his ally's Avacyn, interestingly enough. Talrand casts more draw sorceries and makes Drakes and then attacks Titania for 4 with 1 Drake. Erebos casts more good stuff, but the piece de resistance comes when Erebos casts Grey Merchant. This card is effing nuts in this format. Titania dies and Avacyn loses 14 life. Erebos gains 28 life. and then attacks Avacyn for 10 damage. Post-combat, Erebos has to win now, or he basically gives the game to Talrand. Erebos sacks the Grey Merchant to attrition to shoot one of Talrand's indestructible creatures, and then whips the Grey Merchant back into play with Whip of Erebos, making Avacyn lose a bunch more life, killing him, and with both the white and green mages dead, that means the black mage Erebos wins. That was quite a game. We got to see everyone's deck and no one really stalled out, although I will say that Godo's deck didn't really have a huge presence on the board. Actually, Titania and Avacyn really didn't do that much either that game. The decks that were in dominant positions throughout were the blue and black decks, probably because their decks in general are maybe a little stronger, especially in a group setting such as this. Grey Merchant was in absolute beast mode this game. We all thought it was pretty funny that Rob never actually untapped with Avacyn. It kept getting killed by Avacyn's mortal enemy, the black player, who never seemed short on answers that game. At the end of the game, Talrand was holding permission in hand, but he couldn't counter the whip's activation, having already let the Grey Merchant hit the table. That's the game. How did you like this game of Commander Star Magic? Pretty Star Magic-y, right? Come back next time for some more exciting gameplay fun, and in the meantime, check out these other clone-tastic games of Star Magic we played, and until then, go your clone way. Alright.